Hi, I'm Rad Linux. Today we're going to be discussing a little bit about NFC chips and how they work and how we can interact with them with our Flipper Zero. It's not actually just about chips, it's also about readers, and we'll get into that for in a second. So NFC is a chip and reader mechanism that uses radio signals. We have a little set of antennas here in the base of our Flipper Zero and a little chip reader in here that allows us to interact with NFC chips and NFC readers. Now, NFC is popular in a lot of different spaces. I think people have noticed that it's commonly found now on modern credit cards, debit cards, Metro cards, even some like hotels that use NFC cards and chips in cards in order to access your room and stuff. It's also used on some consumer electronics. So we have something like these Bluetooth headphones that actually have an NFC chip in them, essentially as a quick sync. So I can just tap that against my phone and it will automatically, connect us. And I'm off to the races. I don't have to go through the whole Bluetooth connection screen. Honestly, not that complex, but it's a little bit of an ease of use, a convenience thing. This also allows us to do some types of like bad USB type attacks, depending on what we're using as our reader, specifically in the realm of like using your mobile device. That's one of the reasons why I don't actually leave NFC on my phone, because it kind of is a little bit of like a weird open hole that's not discussed nearly enough. Now, I'm sure that there's some things in place that hold back some of the worst of the worst, but you can do some weird stuff with this. So let's get into it. Let's do a little bit of capture and emulation off the break. So I'm going to take these headphones that I have. We're going to go down here to NFC, and I'm going to go to read, right? Now, there we go. I just read it. But let's do this again real fast, because I want to show you how close you actually have to be for this to work. Right? There we go. So it actually takes a lot, or a very, very close proximity for you to be able to capture this. And we're going to go to emulate. So we're going to go to emulate. Now, forgive me, I don't know if you've noticed in the past, I'm actually using my phone and OBS, DroidCam OBS to do this. So I'm going to be using my phone as the reader as well as my camera. So we're going to have to do a little bit of this here. So we're going to go bloop. All right. So we can see that it's disconnected because my headphones were automatically connected already. We're going to try that again. And now it's connected my headphones to my phone, and they're fully functional, all set up, and we are good to go. Pretty easy, pretty straightforward, and very simple. So we're going to do this, and I'm just going to back out here. We're going to exit. I don't need to save that right now. That's pretty cool. You can, I guess, kind of see the potential here. And then we'll take it one step further. We're actually going to go, and I'm going to use one of my saved NFC files. We're going to go to a classic here. Well, yeah, we're going to go to a classic. And I am going to just go here. Are we emulating? Oh, no. Got to hit emulate first. That's important. And we can go, there we go. Oh, all right. Hilariously, I put my phone on airplane mode so that I wouldn't get bothered by text messages in the middle of this, which I seem to have already been doing. But yeah, so you can see what was going to happen there was that I was about to rickroll myself. And frankly, it's this is where I think some of the weirder stuff is possible, right? Like, I keep this in place on my phone. I don't just let things open things automatically. For the most part, I try my best to limit some of that possibility. But you can see, again, still no internet, but I could send somebody to google.com by just tapping their phone with one of these if they have NFC open and available. And that's kind of where some of the bad USB stuff comes in certain senses. So, like, yes, you can kind of force somebody's phone to open something or open a URL. You can see that there's like call 911. There's a few different possibilities. I guess I can emulate Dave and Buster cards. Sometimes I don't even keep track of some of the things that I have on here, and that's honestly not smart. You should really know what you're doing, playing around with. But I guess I can emulate a Dave and Buster's card. That's pretty cool. But yeah, so there are some possibilities here for like I said, like a USB, bad USB style thing. Now there is a really interesting website, and I'm going to leave that in the comments, or in the comments in the information in the whatever the thing is below here. You'll find it. To a site actually really interesting where you can create your own NFC files that'll send people to like any URL you want. So that's a pretty fun little thing, and a little tool. I'll drop that in there. But now let's get into what we can't do with NFC, because I feel like one of the things I keep seeing popping up in different videos is people kind of exaggerating the power of the Flipper Zero. And I've said in other videos, I think the Flipper is a very powerful device, but it has its limitations. So let's talk about that. Number one, you cannot steal somebody's credit card with this, or it's very unlikely. And if you can, that person really needs to have a discussion with their bank. For the most part, the NFC chips that are in our bank cards and stuff like that may at most expose a credit card number. Now, many of us know that you can't actually do much with just a credit card number. You need the CCV, you need to have the expiration date, and that kind of information usually is not held on that chip. Or not going to be immediately accessible to us through reading. It might give us a name, it might give us some other information, and that can be dangerous. So there is some truth to the need for something like RFID blocking technology, which is really just any kind of shielding. I use like what do I use? I use like a cigarette case for a wallet. It works great. It's a little metal cigarette case. You certainly cannot read any of the chips in my wallet. I'm actually gonna real quick reach over here and show you that I do have credit cards in here, and they're not being, well, I guess I have to actually be trying to read, don't I? So we're gonna read, and you can see that my little wallet does a great job of blocking my card from being read. In fact, let's actually go take a step further. So the reader, I've been tapping my phone with the reader. We're gonna go to an emulated. We're gonna go back to Rickroll. Let's do no ads this time. Rickroll, no ads. We're gonna emulate, and this time I'm actually going from the other direction, right? Instead of going from the bottom of my phone, the back of my phone, touching the back of my phone, I'm trying to touch go through the phone essentially. It doesn't work. Right, you can see nothing is happening here. So it really does require like an incredibly close proximity, and a lot of things can block the NFC signal. So you're not really, I don't think that's, you're not really going to steal somebody's credit card information with this. In the same breath, I'm also pretty sure, from what I understand, that you can't emulate the credit card either. So just because you've captured some information about it doesn't mean that you would be able to take this information, using the emulating feature of the Flipper Zero, and then go and make, payments at like a CVS or Rite Aid or whatever, where they got a self-checkout line or something. You're not going to be able to do that. So a little bit of an exaggeration. I believe, on the part of a lot of people who are really trying to use the Flipper Zero to elevate their likes and views and subscribers, and they're not being super real about what the capabilities of this device are. The other issue is something like hotel keys. There is I want to say deficiency, but this device can read a lot of things that it can't emulate. One of those is, I believe, what's called MeFair Classic. So if we go through NFC, there are a lot of different types of different implementations of NFC. And one of those is the MeFair Classic. This is, I think, what a lot of like the room keys for like hotel rooms use. I've actually attempted to do that at a hotel to try and copy the room key. And it was kind of a twofold issue. One, at the time, I didn't have a large enough database of keys. So now I have a larger database of keys. It's possible I might be able to actually match all the keys, but it is a kind of a long brute forcing process. I think it took like 15 to 20 minutes for me to actually attempt to brute force the keys, and that was when I had a lot less keys on this device. So when I'm talking about, as we go to NFC, there's extra actions, and then there's the MeFair Classic keys. So there's a dictionary, the system dictionary, and there's also a user dictionary. So you can pull more of those offline, add them to your Flipper, and it enhances the amount of keys available for it to check against. But I wasn't able to get a complete list of keys for the card that I was using, and it wouldn't emulate. And that is, I believe, a deficiency in the hardware. I don't think that MeFair Classic emulation is possible with this device. I'm not 100% sure why that is. I just know that I've seen it come up a lot of times on places like the Discord, where people are asking about things like trying to get into a room or copy room keys. And, you might be able to capture that information. And it's possible, like I've said in the past, that you might be able to capture that information using your Flipper Zero, take it to another device, and then emulate that. But as of right now, that is not actually a possibility. Now, there is another fun little feature here for NFC, and that is the detect reader function. So this is a little bit of a newer one, and I actually haven't gotten this one to work yet. But supposedly, by taking this device and using this detect reader, we can touch on a reader a bunch of times and catch what are a bunch of attempts, then bring that back into our phone app and have our phone calculate to figure out what type of reader we're working with. Again, this is a fun function that I haven't actually gotten to work yet. So if anybody else has some heads up knowledge on how to make detect reader work properly, I'd love to know more about that. It seems like a really interesting feature, just to know what kind of reader you're interacting with, so you can kind of know how to target it better, or whether or not the device will actually be able to emulate it in the end anyways. So yeah, this is NFC. I'm sure there's plenty of other stuff we can work with as well. Definitely check out online. Go check out Uber Guido's repository. It's got some really nice NFC stuff, and I think it helps you kind of walk through the concepts of NFC. Like I said, I'm going to leave again the link in the section below, so that you can also make some of your own NFC payloads that you can drop yourself. So thanks for hanging out. I hope you had a good time. I don't usually do this, but I'm getting close to 1,000 subscribers, and I would love to be able to pass that mark. So, drop a like, drop a subscribe if you feel like that's something that if you feel like that's deep in your heart. Stick around. I'm trying to build this channel up into a space where, I can pass along some information on the basics of this device, I want to get back into doing the Flipper news again. And I also, I really want to start expanding a little bit more, into some of the ways that we can play with the firmware itself, not necessarily through community firmwares, well, although those seem relatively interesting. I want to expand into how we can basically hack our own firmwares, change the animations, change some of the various things. And I do create some fun pixel art. I don't know if you've checked out my page, but I have some fun pixel art up. Kind of revamped my page a little bit, and I want to start getting into creating some animations for the Flipper. So hopefully we can talk a little bit about that as well. Thanks so much for hanging out. Hopefully I'll see you again on Rad Linux.